The rhythmic clatter of dishes, the hiss of the industrial dishwasher, and the pervasive scent of grease and bleach were the constant companions in Ethan Vance's world. In his mid-20s, Ethan was a quiet, unassuming figure, almost invisible amidst the controlled chaos of the Golden Spoon, a Michelin-starred restaurant renowned for its exquisite cuisine. To the outside eye, he was merely a dishwasher, meticulously cleaning plates with surprising efficiency, his movements precise and almost meditative. Yet, unbeknownst to the demanding chefs and the discerning patrons, Ethan possessed an extraordinary intuitive culinary talent, a perfect palate, and an innovative mind for flavor combinations. This hidden gift was a legacy from his reclusive late grandmother, who had been a legendary but unrecognized street food chef, whose dishes whispered tales of forgotten flavors. Ethan had taken this humble job not out of necessity alone, but to discreetly learn classic techniques from the ground up, hoping one day to honor her culinary heritage. His daily routine began before dawn, a silent ritual of dedication. He would arrive at the restaurant before anyone else, navigating the dimly lit prep areas, polishing silverware until it gleamed, a quiet act of reverence. Once the kitchen roared to life, he would retreat to the noisy, steaming dish pit, a world apart from the glittering dining room. Yet from his unseen vantage point, his eyes missed nothing. He observed the kitchen hierarchy, the intricate dance of the chefs, the precise movements as they plated each dish. He dissected the components, imagining variations, his mind a silent laboratory of flavors. Socially, he was isolated. He rarely spoke, ate his meager lunch alone in a quiet corner, but his gaze, when he thought no one was watching, would intently follow the preparation of each dish, absorbing every detail with the intensity of a scholar. Tucked deep within his worn apron, he often carried a small, dog-eared notebook filled with intricate recipes written in a tiny, almost illegible hand, alongside culinary sketches of fantastical dishes, a testament to his hidden passion and a longing for a life beyond the constant steam and clatter. One particularly frantic dinner service, the kitchen was a maelstrom of shouting and sizzling. The executive chef, a volatile genius, barked orders. Amidst the chaos, Ethan, from his spot in the dish pit, noticed a crucial ingredient was missing for a signature dish, the rare saffron threads needed for the chef's famous bouillabaisse. Panic rippled through the line cooks. Without fanfare and using only scraps from the prep station, a few leftover carrot peels, some discarded parsley stems, and a forgotten piece of ginger, Ethan quickly improvised a small, intensely flavorful saffron oil substitute. He discreetly dabbed a minuscule amount onto the side of the pan as it was being plated, unnoticed by the frantic chefs. The bouillabaisse, saved from ruin, went out flawlessly, its aroma filling the dining room. The sous chef, Ben, a tired but observant man, briefly noticed Ethan's quick, precise movements, the almost surgical way he added the unseen element, but dismissed it as a fluke, attributing the sudden appearance of the saffron aroma to a trick of the light or a momentary lapse in his own senses. Ethan wore a small, tarnished silver locket around his neck, its cool metal a constant, comforting presence against his skin. Inside, nestled against his heart, was a faint, sepia-toned photograph of his grandmother, her eyes kind and knowing, and a tiny, almost illegible, handwritten recipe for a dish she called Grandma's Luminescence. It was a dish of profound simplicity, yet astonishing depth, a secret known only to their family. He frequently received anonymous, cryptic letters, the paper thick and textured, smelling faintly of exotic spices, with clippings of obscure culinary history or forgotten regional dishes, hinting at a hidden connection or protector, someone who knew of his grandmother's forgotten legacy. He also possessed a unique linguistic ability, speaking a rare, almost forgotten dialect of a specific cuisine, a detail only a true culinary historian or a member of a very old, secretive culinary family would recognize. These whispers of a hidden past, this profound, unacknowledged talent, simmered beneath the surface of his quiet life, poised to erupt. The taste of contempt. The fragile equilibrium of Ethan's life at the Golden Spoon shattered with the sudden, terrifying onset of a new crisis. Lily, his beloved younger sister, just 8 years old, was diagnosed with a rare, debilitating condition that defied conventional medicine. Her only hope lay in an experimental diet regimen, a radical treatment requiring extremely specific, high-quality, and astronomically expensive rare ingredients. The cost, a monstrous sum that dwarfed his meager earnings, was overwhelming. Ethan's desperate attempts to find extra shifts to push his already exhausted body further proved futile. The Golden Spoon, despite its opulence, offered no such flexibility or increased wages. He was drowning under the weight of an impossible financial burden. The immediate antagonist in Ethan's daily life, embodying the very elitism and disdain that threatened his dreams, was Chef Julian Thorne. The notoriously arrogant, egocentric, and celebrated Michelin-starred chef owner of the Golden Spoon, Julian Thorne prided himself on his genius, yet he was secretly insecure about his profound lack of true culinary innovation. He often stole ideas from his more creative junior chefs, repackaging them as his own. He viewed service staff, particularly dishwashers, as utterly disposable, invisible cogs in his meticulously crafted empire. Anyone he perceived as lacking talent was met with utter contempt. He was obsessed with his family's culinary legacy, particularly a lost, legendary recipe from his own ancestor, the echoing palate, a dish he believed held the key to ultimate culinary supremacy. One particularly fraught evening, the kitchen was in a frenzy, the air thick with the scent of burning oil and simmering rage. Chef Thorne, already in a foul mood due to a minor kitchen mishap, a misfire from a junior chef, entirely not Ethan's fault, stormed into the dish pit, his face contorted in a mask of furious self-importance. He seized upon Ethan, the quiet, unassuming figure, as an easy target for his misplaced rage. He publicly berated Ethan, his voice booming over the clatter of dishes. "You, Vance!" Thorne shrieked, pointing a furious finger at Ethan. "Look at this. Are these clean? Are you blind? You lack talent. You lack passion. You are fit only for scrubbing. You have no place in a real kitchen, boy. You are a disgrace to this establishment." He loudly proclaimed that Ethan was fit only for scrubbing, and made condescending remarks about his zero ambition. He then fired Ethan on the spot, making a theatrical display of his dismissal in front of other stunned kitchen staff, reveling in Ethan's quiet dignity, viewing it as weakness. Ethan stood there, utterly devastated, the steam from the dish pit blurring his vision, the heat in his face not from the water, but from profound humiliation. His dreams of learning from the best, of honoring his grandmother's legacy by mastering classic techniques, were shattered. He left the Golden Spoon, clutching his worn apron, the weight of Lily's desperate medical needs now even more precarious. His eyes burned with unshed tears, but beneath the devastation, a dormant defiance ignited. The thought of Lily, her fragile life dependent on the experimental diet, solidified his resolve. He realized with startling clarity that his grandmother's hidden talent, her unique recipes, her luminescence, was their only hope. He would find a way to get Lily the food she needed, no matter what it took. He would use the very talent Chef Thorne had scorned. This was his point of no return, the aroma of defiance. The small, unassuming storefront was tucked away in a forgotten corner of the city, far from the gleaming towers and bustling avenues of the culinary elite. The paint on its sign, the Luminescence Cafe, was still fresh, a subtle nod to the cherished, almost mythical recipe of Ethan's grandmother. He had poured every last one of his meager savings into this venture, a desperate gamble fueled by Lily's critical dietary needs. Inside, the space was simple, clean, and filled with the quiet aroma of simmering spices and fresh herbs, a promise of authentic, comforting, yet innovative dishes. Ethan cooked with a singular focus, each ingredient meticulously sourced, each dish a prayer for Lily's health. One evening, as rain slicked the quiet street, a tired figure pushed open the cafe's unassuming door. It was Ben, the sous chef from the Golden Spoon. He looked even more exhausted than usual, his chef's whites still faintly smelling of stress and professional resignation. He had been working another punishing shift, the endless demands of Chef Thorne grinding him down. Drawn by a mysterious, enticing aroma he couldn't quite place, a scent that seemed to weave through the damp air, hinting at something ancient and profoundly delicious, he had stopped. He recognized Ethan, his former dishwasher, a flicker of surprise in his tired eyes. "Ethan?" Ben mumbled, his voice hoarse. "What is this place?" Ethan offered a small, polite smile. "Just a small cafe, Ben. Please, come in. Have a seat." He served Ben a small, complimentary dish, not on the menu. It was a reinterpretation of his grandmother's grandma's luminescence, a dish infused with a unique, almost forgotten flavor profile that whispered of history and untold culinary secrets. It was a dish of profound simplicity yet astonishing depth, its flavors clean and vibrant, unlike anything Ben had tasted in the Golden Spoon's elaborate kitchen. Ben took a bite, and his eyes, usually weary, widened in stunned disbelief. He immediately recognized the specific taste, the unique spice blend, the profound depth of flavor. It wasn't merely good, it was extraordinary. It was a taste he had only ever encountered in obscure culinary history texts, linked to a legendary lost street food chef from decades ago. As Ethan quietly explained the components, a subtle detail caught Ben's ear. The unique, almost archaic dialect of a specific cuisine Ethan unconsciously used to describe the dish. A dialect known only to a handful of true experts, a secretive linguistic code passed down through generations of a very old culinary family. Ben, a scholar of culinary history in his spare time, felt a prickle of recognition. He sensed a raw, undeniable genius, a profound connection to a lost heritage. He was profoundly impressed, sensing a talent that transcended mere skill, but he was too tired, too caught up in his own professional struggles and the pervasive influence of Chef Thorne to connect it definitively to the Michelin-starred world or its intricate web of culinary rivalries. He simply gave Ethan a quiet, encouraging nod. "Ethan," he said, his voice sincere, This is truly something special. Keep going." News of the Luminescence Cafe eventually reached Chef Thorne, not through any formal channel, but through the whispers of a disgruntled former patron or a jealous competitor. Thorne, his ego inflated by years of unchallenged praise, dismissed it with a contemptuous wave of his hand, a sneer twisting his features. A dishwasher opening a restaurant? What a pathetic joke. He scoffed at the idea that a former scrubber, a man he had publicly branded as lacking talent, could possibly succeed, let alone compete with him. He ridiculed its simple menu and unrefined aesthetic, convinced it was a fleeting novelty, a transient curiosity that would quickly fade. "He lacks taste, lacks vision," Thorne laughed loudly to his staff, his voice echoing through the Golden Spoon's immaculate kitchen. "A man who cleans my plates cannot possibly cook like me." He even subtly discouraged his own patrons from trying it, dropping condescending remarks about amateur hour and culinary fads to maintain his unchallenged dominance. He remained utterly oblivious to the profound historical significance of Grandma's luminescence or the raw, undeniable genius he had so carelessly discarded. The quiet buzz surrounding the Luminescence Cafe quickly escalated into a roaring chorus of acclaim. Word of mouth spread like wildfire, fueled by enthusiastic patrons who spoke of unforgettable flavors. and a soulful dining experience, unlike anything else in the city. Food bloggers, initially skeptical of the unassuming facade, descended upon the cafe, their glowing reviews quickly gaining cult status. Reservations became a coveted rarity, and lines snaked down the quiet street, a testament to Ethan's burgeoning success. Even more profoundly, Lily's health continued to improve dramatically, her vibrant energy a living testament to the efficacy of the experimental diet, sustained by the high-quality, meticulously sourced ingredients Ethan lovingly prepared. Meanwhile, at the Golden Spoon, Chef Julian Thorne seethed with mounting frustration. His Michelin-starred establishment, once perpetually booked, began to see a noticeable decline in reservations and customer traffic, particularly from the younger, more adventurous foodies who were flocking to luminescence. Thorne dismissed it as a fleeting trend, a temporary distraction, but the gnawing unease grew with each empty table. He tried to dismiss the Luminescence Cafe as a fad, publicly scoffing at its simple menu, but secretly he grew infuriated. He even attempted to steal Luminescence's ideas, demanding his own chefs replicate the Luminescence dish, the one infused with that mysterious, captivating flavor profile. But his attempts failed spectacularly. His meticulously trained chefs, for all their technical prowess, simply couldn't replicate the hidden flavor, the unique spice blend, the profound depth that only Ethan could achieve. The attempts tasted hollow, a pale imitation of a masterpiece. The stage for their inevitable ultimate confrontation was the city's prestigious annual food festival, a massive culinary competition that drew the culinary world's elite and thousands of eager food enthusiasts. Chef Thorne, with his undisputed reputation, was a featured judge, his presence designed to solidify his unchallenged dominance and publicly dismiss any new, perceived threats. The Luminescence Cafe, due to overwhelming public demand and critical buzz, was invited to participate as a dark horse competitor, an underdog ready to challenge the establishment. This was the ultimate arena, a high-stakes culinary duel where Ethan would finally face his tormentor on equal ground. Ethan knew the stakes. He had to compete alone, relying solely on his intuitive culinary genius and the unwavering support of Lily, whose health, though improved, was still delicate. He faced not only Chef Thorne's public ridicule, but also the intense pressure of a major culinary competition, the scrutiny of critics, and the expectations of his burgeoning fan base. The competition had strict time limits for each dish, adding immense pressure to Ethan's precise yet intuitive cooking style. He felt the weight of his grandmother's legacy, Lily's future, and the dignity of his craft pressing down on him. However, an unexpected quiet ally emerged. Ben, the sous chef from the Golden Spoon, had grown increasingly disillusioned with Chef Thorne's arrogance and the restaurant's declining fortunes. He had visited the Luminescence Cafe multiple times, captivated by Ethan's food and touched by Lily's story. He recognized Ethan's undeniable talent, a true genius eclipsed by Thorne's ego. Covertly, Ben began to leak information to Ethan, subtle details about Chef Thorne's notoriously finicky judging preferences, his secret prejudices, and, most crucially, his desperate and spectacular failures to replicate Grandma's luminescence. Ben even shared anecdotes about Thorne's increasingly erratic behavior, unknowingly aiding Ethan in anticipating his rival's moves. This quiet act of defiance, this subtle support from a former colleague, provided Ethan with invaluable insights, a glimmer of hope in the intimidating culinary battlefield. The final act of vindication was about to unfold, a symphony of flavors against a backdrop of shattered arrogance. The palette of truth and a chef's ruin. The air in the enormous exhibition hall for the city's annual food festival vibrated with the scent of countless cuisines and the nervous energy of top chefs. Cameras flashed, critics scribbled furiously, and the palpable tension of competition hung heavy over every gleaming stainless steel station. Ethan Vance, his face a picture of serene focus, stood before his workstation, preparing his signature dish. It was an elevated version of Grandma's luminescence, a dish deeply rooted in his grandmother's traditional wisdom, but infused with his unique, innovative twist. His movements were precise, economical, his hands a blur as he meticulously chopped, seasoned, and plated. Across the vast hall, Chef Julian Thorne, resplendent in his pristine white chef's jacket, watched Ethan with a sneer of dismissive contempt, confident in his own unchallenged culinary supremacy. The moment of truth arrived with the final round of judging. Chef Thorne, as the head judge, approached Ethan's station last, his face set in a mask of professional disinterest, though a flicker of barely concealed disdain glinted in his eyes. He took a fork, speared a portion of Ethan's meticulously plated dish, and brought it to his lips. He took a bite. The flavors exploded on his palate, complex, profound, utterly unlike anything he had tasted in years. His eyes, initially narrowed in disdain, slowly widened in stunned disbelief. He recognized the unique flavor profile, the long-lost spice blend, the exact, almost haunting taste. It wasn't just a lost flavor, it was the precise, unforgettable taste from the legendary echoing palate recipe of his own ancestor, a recipe believed lost for centuries, a rival of Grandma's luminescence in whispered culinary lore. Chef Thorne's family had guarded secrets about these rival ancient culinary families for generations. As Ethan, in a hushed explanation to a nearby food critic, unconsciously used the unique archaic dialect of cuisine known only to his own family's secretive culinary past, the final piece of the horrifying puzzle clicked into place for Thorne. The revelation hit him like a physical blow. This dishwasher, this man he had publicly scorned for lack of talent and zero ambition, not only possessed the legendary luminescence recipe from his family's ancient rivals, but he was also unknowingly the descendant of that rival lineage. Ethan's profound, inherent genius, the talent he had so carelessly dismissed, was not just unparalleled, it rivaled his own family's most sacred, lost culinary heritage. His arrogance shattered, replaced by utter professional ruin and the sickening realization that he had been utterly defeated by the very man he had dismissed as a common scrub. His face went from stunned disbelief to a sickly green, a visible manifestation of his inner turmoil. As Thorne stumbled backward from Ethan's station, a new presence emerged from the panel of VIP guest judges. Julian Sterling, the renowned art connoisseur and philanthropist, who had been invited as a guest judge due to his discerning palate and keen interest in hidden legacies, stepped forward. He had been quietly observing, sensing the profound authenticity from Ethan's dish. He recognized the complex flavor profile and the historical significance of what he tasted. He didn't expose Thorne's family's direct connection to the ancient culinary rivalry, leaving Thorne to stew in his private, humiliating knowledge. Instead, Julian subtly revealed the broader culinary heritage of Grandma's luminescence and its connection to a lost, legendary culinary family, hinting at Ethan's profound, unacknowledged legacy to the bewildered audience and critics. "This," Julian announced, his voice carrying clearly, "is not just a dish. It is a rediscovered masterpiece, a testament to a forgotten art form, a symphony of history and soul." The judges were utterly captivated, their palates awakened by a revelation beyond mere taste. The audience, initially buzzing with curiosity about the underdog, erupted in thunderous applause as Ethan Vance was unequivocally declared the winner. Food critics, their initial skepticism obliterated, scrambled to praise his genius, hailing him as the new voice of authentic, soulful cuisine. Chef Thorne, publicly shamed and professionally destroyed by the very taste he had dismissed, attempted to flee, pushing past shocked onlookers, his face a mask of utter defeat. but he was surrounded by a swarm of bewildered journalists, microphones thrusting forward, demanding answers, his arrogant empire imploding in a spectacular fashion. He was exposed, undone by his own arrogance and Ethan's hidden, undeniable talent. A culinary empire of compassion. The reverberations of Ethan Vance's triumph at the food festival sent shockwaves through the city's culinary landscape. Chef Julian Thorne, once an untouchable titan, found his empire crumbling with devastating speed. The public backlash was immediate and furious. His arrogance, his disdain for genuine talent, and the undeniable contrast between his and Ethan's cuisine were laid bare for all to see. The Golden Spoon, his Michelin-starred restaurant, rapidly lost its prestigious stars as critics condemned its hollow perfection and lack of soul. Reservations vanished, and within weeks, the once bustling establishment faced mounting debt, eventually closing its doors. Chef Thorne's reputation was utterly destroyed, his name becoming synonymous with arrogance and a profound failure to recognize true artistry. For Ethan, the victory was profound, yet deeply humbling. The Luminescence Cafe, his unassuming hole-in-the-wall eatery, became a national sensation overnight. Food critics, once skeptical, now penned glowing reviews, hailing him as a culinary prodigy, a revolutionary force in the food world. The cafe expanded, transforming into a beloved, thriving restaurant, renowned not just for its innovative cuisine, but for its compassionate ethos. Lines of eager patrons stretched around the block daily, eager to experience the taste of soul that only Ethan could provide. His newfound wealth immediately secured Lily's long-term health. She received the specialized care she needed, her experimental diet meticulously maintained with the finest, rarest ingredients sourced from around the globe. Her recovery was steady, a profound relief that settled deep in Ethan's heart. He was able to provide for her every need, ensuring her future was bright and unburdened by the financial anxieties that had once threatened to consume them. One bustling morning, Ben, the sous chef from the Golden Spoon who had subtly aided Ethan, arrived at the Luminescence Cafe. He looked tired but carried a new lightness in his eyes. "Ethan," he said, a genuine smile on his face, "Thorne's gone. The Spoon is closed. I don't have a job." Ethan smiled, a warm, knowing expression. "You do now, Ben. Join me. This isn't just a restaurant, it's a new way of doing things, a place where talent is nurtured and kindness is served alongside every dish." Ben, deeply moved, accepted immediately, becoming Ethan's trusted head chef, a true partner in his burgeoning culinary vision. Their shared commitment to integrity and passion for food laid the foundation for a unique and thriving culinary enterprise. Later that week, Ethan sat with Lily in their new, comfortable home, no longer a cramped apartment above the cafe. Lily, now bright-eyed and energetic, was enjoying a meal prepared by Ethan, made with the specific ingredients vital for her diet. "Ethan," Lily asked, her voice clear, "how did we get all this? The special food, this nice house?" Ethan explained, simply and truthfully, how her brave fight had fueled his own journey, how the grandma's luminescence recipe had been their guiding star. He spoke of the kindness of strangers, the power of a single flavor, and the importance of never underestimating anyone. He explained that sometimes life's greatest gifts come disguised in unexpected ways, even from harsh experiences. He showed her the tarnished locket, explaining it held a piece of their grandmother's secret, a legacy of love and unseen talent. Their conversation, quiet and poignant, celebrated her recovery and underscored the profound, almost miraculous turning point in their lives. He also quietly acknowledged Julian Sterling's subtle help in recognizing his grandmother's legacy, developing a quiet respect for the reclusive philanthropist's discerning eye for truth and beauty. The new calm had settled, not a quiet ending, but a vibrant beginning, a culinary empire built on compassion. The global culinary world now vibrated with the name Ethan Vance, not just as a renowned chef, but as a revered icon. The Luminescence Cafe, his humble beginnings, had expanded into a successful chain, each restaurant a vibrant testament to his ethical approach to food and his revolutionary cuisine. These establishments were more than just dining destinations. They were models of sustainable sourcing, fair labor practices, and deep community engagement, proving that culinary excellence could and should be a force for profound social good. Ethan had also published a series of cookbooks, blending his grandmother's traditional wisdom with his innovative techniques, their pages infused with stories of resilience and the transformative power of food. His beloved sister Lily, now a healthy, vibrant 13-year-old, was an active ambassador for the foundation, her joy and vitality a living testament to Ethan's love and sacrifice. She had developed her own budding passion for culinary arts, often assisting Ethan in the kitchen, her youthful enthusiasm a vibrant echo of their grandmother's legacy. She moved with a lightness that belied the arduous journey of her early childhood, her laughter a constant melody in their lives. Ethan's commitment to paying it forward was etched into every facet of his flourishing empire. He established the Grandma's Luminescence Foundation, a national nonprofit that became a beacon of hope for aspiring chefs and struggling communities. The foundation funded culinary scholarships for underprivileged youth with raw talent, ensuring that financial barriers would never stifle genuine genius. It also provided crucial resources for local farmers who practiced sustainable agriculture, fostering a network of ethical food production from farm to table. Beyond the culinary world, Ethan opened community kitchens in underserved areas, providing healthy, free meals and offering culinary training programs, empowering individuals with skills and dignity. He worked tirelessly to ensure that ethical food practices became the norm, transforming the industry from within. The story ends on a bright, bustling afternoon. Ethan stood in the sunlit, open kitchen of his flagship Luminescence Cafe, the aroma of simmering spices and roasting vegetables filling the air. Lily, now a confident young apprentice chef, stood beside him, her hands deftly preparing a delicate garnish for a new dish. Ethan wore a pristine chef's coat, but the tarnished silver locket, containing his grandmother's secret recipe, was subtly visible, nestled against his chest. He looked at a framed, faded photo of his grandmother, displayed prominently on a shelf, her kind eyes seeming to smile back at him. A profound sense of peace and purpose filled him. He had not only honored her legacy, but had expanded it beyond her wildest dreams, creating an unforgettable taste of hope, compassion, and delicious possibility for generations to come. If this story stirred your heart, if it reminds you that courage can alter destinies and that light always finds a path even in the deepest darkness, please leave a comment. Share this story with those who need inspiration. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to never miss our upcoming stories.